back. Sorry about that. Just had some anxiety hit me, but we'll deal with it when that we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So this next little segment for our HiveScience news today is going to be a little bit of a rabbit hole because I fell down a rabbit hole on this one. So this is not what I originally had intended to do today. Because this video, as you can see, released one day ago, right? And I didn't discover it this way. I discovered it when I was doing some research on a completely different topic, and this came up in the feed. It wasn't this video. It was another article, but it was one of those articles where it has like 2 sentences on each page, and you had to click next and click next. And I got like to page 12, and I realized I'd been baited, but I wanted to find out what the alleged species that this was happened to be. Surprise, surprise, it never says. It just says it was an insect. But we will get there in a second. So I'm not going to... actually, let's speed this up all the way and let it play for just a minute. It's about a little girl finding a creature in the forest.
Little girl saves giant creature in forest. When vet sees it, he calls the police. Nobody thought much of it when Jessie entered the vet's office with a giant box. The little girl was probably just bringing her pet to a regular checkup. Jessie walked up to the assistant. She told her that she did not make an appointment, but it was really urgent. When she opened the box, the assistant turned pale. She screamed to the vet and told Jessie not to touch it. What on earth did Jessie bring to the vet? Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell. Let's proceed with the video. Jessie was...
So it's one of those types of videos, right? So you get it. Right now there's going to be like a whole bunch of, like, it's going to lay out a story. Oh, the vet called the police. The police showed up. They told the little girl, they started asking the little girl questions. She said she couldn't answer it until her parents were there, blah, blah, blah. And it goes on and on and on for literally 12 minutes. It's just the whole point of this video is to get past that 10-minute mark, right? To string you along, wanting to know what this creature was that she found in the forest. Let's see here. Yeah. So we're going to jump way ahead to the end because it's stupid. I go to the forest and try to locate the... Yeah. Anyway.
From a lesson. The person was part of a larger group, and all of the members were arrested for endangering the public safety. County. She had contained the creature before it could spread. Eventually, the police asked what was going on and where the creature was. The doctors told her the whole story. Jessie was completely stunned. She felt horrible that she had made this happen. Then the doctors calmed her down. Jessie had in fact saved the entire county. She had contained the creature before it could spread. Eventually, the police figured out that someone had planted the creature there to teach the government a lesson. The person was part of a larger group, and all of the members were arrested for endangering the public safety. Jessie was called to the president's office when she fully recovered. She still did not believe this was her doing. The president told Jessie he was proud of a girl like her, and that more people should take inspiration from her. She was honored by the president and even got a medal. She grew up to be a strong environmental activist and run her own shelter. She went down in the history books. What did you think of this story? Let me know your thoughts.
So yeah, I don't know. What brought me to this was that I was like, okay, so this, because people in the comments were like, this is total BS, and I agree. It seems like total BS. That image is just it's a model that somebody made. It's not a real creature. Yeah, it's to keep you stringing along. So people were like, I don't know if this is real. I don't. So, easily, I thought it would be easy to investigate, to look into this to see if there's validity, because there can't be too many environmentalist groups that have tried to attack the U.S. government, or any terrorist groups that have tried to attack the U.S. government using insects or little creepy crawlies in order to reap their vengeance. Oh boy, was I not prepared for the rabbit hole that I was about to go down. No, it's not spirit science. It's just some literally viral vids. But yeah. Anyway, that's not even the point. That's just what brought me here, because behold a topic called entomological terrorism, a tactic in asymmetrical warfare. So this has been since yesterday. I've just started dipping my toes in this. I had no idea that this was a real thing that happened. Oh yeah. This is something that's been practiced in the past. This is not a new practice either. Matter of fact, this was an early warfare tactic. If you read into the history of entomological warfare, one of the earliest tactics to draw your enemies out of a, when they got the shelter, when you're in combat with them, when they're holed up in their cave or hut. The idea to drive them out, disorient them, and cause some destruction and pain as well was to throw a beehive or hornet nest into their shelter, into their cave. Boom! Ah, bees, they're everywhere. And then as they come running out, swatting and screaming, shoot them down with arrows, take them down with spears, something from a distance where you don't have to get up into the bees. But as they come running out of their hidey hole, take them down. That's something that's been a known practice for generations, right? For thousands of years. It's pretty easy to accomplish, and it would be effective. So entomological warfare is not a new concept. It's just you thinking outside of the box is really what it comes down to. Now, most entomological warfare throughout history has been done with like crop damage, I guess, agricultural damage. One of the biggest culprits that they used for that is the Colorado potato bug, because they're devastating to crops. They were used during World War II by the Germans, by the French, or I guess they shouldn't say they were used. There was never any proof that they were actually released. Actually, the German research into it may have backfired and caused them to get an infestation, because that they later blamed on the Allies. But the Germans cut off a little square of land to do experiments on Colorado potato bugs and how quickly they could devastate the enemy's crops with this form of assault. And they believe that either some of them got loose or that they were introduced through another natural means, but they actually became invasive in Germany right after this. So, I mean, people blamed the Allies and said that they released them, but no, that actually wasn't the case. And the reason that video sounded like Spirit Science was because I sped it up. But the Spirit Science, that's how they get their little character voices too, is that they speed up what they're saying. So it's Anyway, so. Yeah, we talked about the bees. Okay, so during the Civil War, they the Confederacy also accused the Union of releasing Harlequin bugs into their croplands, into their plantation lands, but unfounded as well. And it's probably just they came by natural migration. But it gives us a list of potential bugs of war here, bugs of war for agricultural damage. Gives a little breakdown table. Exotic plant pest of great risk. Has things like cutworms and silvery moths, with the larvae are devastating. There's a lot of moths, and the ones that are called worms on here are generally also moths. Just that's what they call the caterpillar form. There's some beetles that make the list, but yeah, there's a lot of organisms. That's why I was talking about the wasp earlier, because killing wasps are the natural predators for a lot of these pest species. So you knocking that wasp nest down on the back of your shed that's not bothering anybody, is you making sure that there's nothing around to eat the pests that are going to devastate your garden. Yeah, so most of this is about agricultural pests on this list. However, there's also a list here of different arthropods transmitting exotic diseases. You got obviously the mosquito takes up a whole portion. Ticks right here. Screw flies, white flies, leaf hoppers, and psyllids. So they carry diseases that can hurt humans, can cause devastation to humans, to our livestock, and to our crops. These vectors, disease vectors, carry those to our crops. Here's a map. Of course, much like humans, a lot of our crops and domestic livestock find their origins in Africa as well. So it's no surprise that the disease vectors would, of course, be evolved to attack humans specifically. And hello, Logan Fisher. Good. Nope, I didn't finish Tears. That's on Thursday. And I will have better volume now. I've sorted that, I think. Today's stream was pretty good on the volume. So anyway. But, this is probably not what most people are thinking about when they talk about entomological warfare. Disease vectors and crop damage, right? Or disease vectors for cattle and crop damage. And carrying common diseases like yellow fever and things like that. What most people think about when they think about entomological warfare is more like what I said at the beginning with the bees, but on a larger scale, right? Something dropping hornet bombs or something like that. Now, that never happened. That was not a thing that was actually historical. However, the Japanese did take that step. They did use them. They did actually use different organisms for, where are we at? I thought I had an article on it. I guess not. But I still have my notes over here. So the Japanese actually had bombs that would use plague-infested fleas, and not just with things like yellow fever and stuff like that. Plague-infested with like cholera on China. Plague-infested fleas when during World War II. Okay, they also doused houseflies, which is where we got the image in the thumbnail here, was because the danger of this research that they were doing with the biting flies. They would soak them in. Hold on, I had this noted down somewhere. Just a second. Okay, so the fleas. A Japanese Yagi bomb. There we go. Developed in Pinfan. This came from straight out of the wiki, which was sourced to a book called Bug Bomb by Jeffrey Lockwood. There we go. Yeah. And localized and deadly epidemics that resulted in nearly 500,000 Chinese dying from diseases. So that's an effective weapon. And these Yagi bombs had a dispersal for like the airplane would fly over low, spraying these cholera infected fleas on the population. And they had they did it with flies too. I don't know. I thought I had that pulled up here. I guess I did not. But they would they would put the fly larva into. I'm going to see if I can't find it in the wiki article, because I swear I took notes on it and they're gone. So just a second. Okay, there we go. Yeah, the Japanese Yagi bomb developed in consisted of two compartments, one with houseflies and another with a bacterial slurry that coated the houseflies prior to release. The Japanese military dispersed them from low-flying airplanes, spraying the fleas and flies from them and dropping the Yagi bomb filled with the mixture of insects and diseases. Localized and deadly epidemics resulted in nearly 500,000 Chinese died of disease. The International Symposium of Historians declared in 2002 that Japanese entomological warfare in China was responsible for the death of 440,000 people. So this is no joke, right? This is not something you want to look around and find out about. Okay, this is a real threat that people were actually able to do and killed hundreds of thousands of people. I'm not wearing a coat. This is a vest. Yes, for fashion reasons. Yes. I'm dressed in for winter, dressed in for the season. I'm not cold. I mean, I woke up cold. I complained about my thermostat this morning because it drops down to 60 degrees. Somebody had programmed it to drop down to 60 degrees at 6 a.m. every day. I imagine because they went to work at that time and didn't want the heat going while they were gone. But, here we are. So every morning I have to get up and turn the heat back on. And I haven't been able to figure out how to deprogram it. So entomological warfare. This is declassified documents. This is from the Smoking Gun that likes to post declassified documents about different government articles. Now, this one's about attack with yellow fever infected mosquitoes. Right here. And it goes on to delve into other vector attacks as well. We'll try to find the page. There was a nice little graph that it had of the ones that they used. Oh, hold on, is that it? Okay, the prisoners reportedly in chains were, since World War II, several reports have been indicated the Soviet Union had an interest in entomological warfare. There's a section blocked out here, but then we have this quote. The prisoners, reportedly in chains, were placed in an 8-man tent which had a number of plague-infected rats and fleas under wire nets in the floor. Most of the prisoners developed bubonic plague after being bitten by the fleas. Ground squirrels and other rodents were reported to have been used in similar experiments and proved to be efficient intermediary hosts. The escape of a prisoner infected with bubonic plague started a great epidemic among the Mongols in the summer of 1941. 3,000 to 5,000 Mongols were reported to have died in this epidemic and were disposed of by burning or burying the disinfectants. Ticks were also reported to have been used to transfer tick-borne encephalitis to prisoners. In addition, infected fleas and other insect vectors were dropped from aircrafts and paper containers. Mass production of Aedes aegypti. Operation Big Itch. In 1941, a series of trials was conducted using fleas. It has I don't know why the name's all chopped up like that. An E14 musician, with cardboard and sponge inserts. The insects were dropped from altitudes of 305 to 610 meters over U.S. Army Dungway Praying Ground, Utah, to investigate the suitability of the munition components for dissemination of these arthropod vectors, determine survival and host acquisition ability of the fleas, disseminate from the device. plot carrier patterns produced by E14 munition filled with specific carrier. Okay, so we're getting some freaking wild stuff with the U.S. Army doing some tests here. The fleas were successfully reared to the appropriate stage, then dropped on the target with little to no die-off. After release, the insects were successful in acquiring hosts, but were not active longer than 24 hours. The sponge carriers were the most widely distributed, as indicated by the carrier pattern. No calculation of effects were attempted in this report. Operation Big Buzz. In May 1955, a field test was conducted in Georgia to demonstrate the feasibility of mass producing, storing, loading into ammunition, and disseminating mosquitoes from aircrafts, and to determine if the mosquitoes would survive the airdrops and take blood meals from humans. More than 1 million unaffected were produced and stored for nearly 2 weeks. About 1/3 of these mosquitoes were placed in E14 munition containing a air comb waffle and something tube. A loop tube. This the text on this is really hard to read in some spots. Operation Dropkick is blocked out. Let's see if that comes up in Wiki or any place else for that matter. Operation Dropkick. Since it's not telling us what was used. Operation Dropkick. Here we go. 1956. To test the practicality of employing mosquitoes to carry entomological warfare. So another mosquito experiment is right what we have for Operation Dropkick. There's the rest of that. Operation Mayday consists of a study. Let's see, Operation Mayday. Operation Mayday. Yeah, more mosquitoes. So this is mostly, looks like we're going to be dealing a lot with mosquitoes. And fleas. So yeah, most of the experiments by the U.S. military were on mosquitoes, fleas, and some on ticks. But mostly fleas and mosquitoes. So yeah, that's entomological warfare for you. What a wild ride that turned out to be. I did not in any way intend for that to be the direction that my evening went yesterday, but lo and behold, we had there was more entomological warfare propaganda posters too, but that one had the right colors for what I was going for my thumbnail, so I used it. Anyway, so if you have questions or commentary regarding entomological warfare, entomological terrorism, leave it in the comments down below and engage with me. But yeah, this has been live from the Hive. This has been our HiveScience segment on entomological warfare and the history behind it. I hope you enjoyed this. And until next time, please remember to be kind and take care.